Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Kalista updated complete guide, of course, for the latest patch. So before we, get too much into detail, don't forget to check out Kalista's basic guide I put up in the cards above for her skills, living order tips and tricks, as well as a couple combos. But with all that said, now let's jump into taking a look at her items. So really, Kalista only has two core items other than boots, right? So you first want to start off with Berserker Greaves, which is going to give you AD as well as attack speed. Now Kalista, attack speed is very, very important. Obviously, due to two reasons. Number one, you want to stack your Ren more quickly in terms of getting more spears, and number two, of course, her dashing movement speed passive thingy kind of scales off of attack speed, so you definitely want to have attack speed so you can dash around more quickly and more easily. So her two core items are basically going to be Bork as well as Runans. Now, there was a period of time early in the patch, like on 6.1, where everybody was rushing Runans as a first item, and I was thinking that was absolutely horrible. Now, thankfully, people have stopped doing that, except for this guy, the third guy. But Bork is definitely going to be your first item, right? So Bork, of course, gives you AD, attack speed, physical vamp, on hit, current health damage, as well as the drain passive. Now, it's not the best first item in the world, but it's the best out of all the choices that you have, right? So you're going to go for Bork first and then Runan second. Now, Runans is very important to get as a second item because Kalista, one of her greatest strengths is her Ren, right? So getting spears into up to three targets at the same time is very, very critical, right? Because when you use your Ren to kill like your first target, then it's gonna pull the spears out of the other one or two targets as well, which is gonna lead them to taking huge damage, and then you can rinse and repeat the process, and that's basically Kalista's playstyle. So very, very important to have Runans to attack three people at the same time, and then the rest of the build is kind of situational and it's kind of what you prefer. Right, so if you take a look at the top three players, you can see that the first guy goes like Wits End into Maul Reminder into GA. The second guy goes no Wits End at all, but Terminus, then into Shilbo and GA. And then the next guy, similar to the first guy's build, right? So for me, this is what I built as a default. I like to go into Terminus next. I think Terminus is still quite a solid item for Kalista, although some people do omit it from the build. But I think that if you have a choice between items like Terminus and Wits End, Terminus is obviously the superior item. The only thing about it is that Wits End is 2700 and we have a 3400 cost on Terminus. So the difference is like huge, right? It's like a 700 gold difference. That's like 2 1/3 kills, right? So that's kind of why some people rush Wits End, because it's a lot easier to complete Wits End compared to Terminus. But obviously Terminus is just a superior item. You get AD, you get on-hit magic damage, you get stacking resistances, you get stacking penetrations. Just an insane item overall. Wits End obviously amazing for when you want to deal with magic damage, and even when not, right, it's just really good because it gives you very good stats just for a low cost. And I like to go for a defensive item as the last item. I like to go for Twin Guard here. Now I used to like going for Shield Bow, but I realized that Shield Bow's shield in the late game really isn't that good. I think Shield Bow is a lot better as an early game item instead, and you don't really have space to go for that on Kalista, right? Some other options other than Twin Guard, you could also go for something like Bloodthirster or Phantom Dancer. Those are really good Kalista items as well, but I just don't have it in my default build. Right, so for the runes, you obviously want to go for Lethal Tempo for the attack speed and range, Brutal because you auto attack a ton, and especially for Kalista, you want to go for Coup de Grace. And that's because Coup de Grace allows you to do bonus damage to people below 40% health, and with Kalista and her Ren, your Ren is always going to be when they're below 40% health, so Coup de Grace helps increase your Ren damage, and that is really, really amazing. Obviously, Alacrity for more attack speed, Bone Plating for the defensive capabilities, and then you want to go for Flash together with either Cleanse if you need it, or if not, it's probably going to be Barrier or Exhaust, because you don't really need anything like Ghost on Kalista. But with all that said, let's move on to talking about our gameplay. Okay, so let's hop into the gameplay. Before we get too much into it, of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Any questions, queries, remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Of course, I'll be sure to address them. So let's jump straight into it. One of the kind of weaknesses of Kalista is the fact that you have to bind to someone at the very beginning of the game, and because of that, you'll be a little bit late to lane. So you'll see why this matters in a second. Leona walks into the bush right into Senna, and then the fight starts. I'm late to the fight by about a second. However, we're able to basically run them down and get the Ren onto Senna for the first blood. And we're actually using the ward to hop away, which is pretty nice. And then, yeah, we get an amazing start to the game with that first blood. So, of course, Kalista is a very, very aggressive early game champion and wants to play with an engaged support. Because otherwise, your ulti is going to be kind of useless because you always want to be launching someone into enemy team, or I guess saving your engaged support who's in very, very deep. So, with that early game kill, this is very weird behavior, by the way. Caitlyn walks into the river, ditching the Senna. Senna is now left alone. Leona goes onto Senna again. Senna, of course, doesn't have any summoner spells already from the earlier exchange. We simply rend her. She goes down again. Leona is now in trouble, is gonna die, but turns around to just get the stun off onto the Caitlyn, which then allows me to follow up with my auto attacks and my spear, and we barely managed to get the kill on Caitlyn. So we have now 3 kills in the first minute of the game, which is a dream start for champions like Kalista, Samira, or Draven, like these kind of snowball champions. Allows me to pick up both a longsword as well as my attack speed boost, which is only going to make me even stronger in lane. So lovely, lovely start to the game. We're also rocking the Kalista silver chroma that we just picked up from the store. Hex Flash going in from Leona again, goes on top of the Senna, who doesn't have any summoner spells anymore. Yet again, we go onto a rampage. Now, Leona is taking a bunch of damage, but Caitlyn obviously knows she cannot chase, because otherwise I'm just gonna basically stat check her with my superior items and kill her. So yeah, that went pretty well. So now we're kind of at that kind of point where we are so far ahead that it's going to be very difficult for the enemy team to do anything, right? So here we actually play a classic all-in versus poke lane, right? So generally, Kalista Leona in this matchup would be severely disadvantaged because we'll get poked down by Caitlyn and Senna's long range, and we're going to be low all the time and we never get a chance to go in. But because of that level 1 exchange where we killed Senna, and just honestly pretty bad gameplay from the Caitlyn as well as the Senna, allowing us to repeatedly engage onto them and get kills. We're so far ahead now that they can no longer really poke us, right? Because for them to step up to poke, they're putting themselves at risk of a Leona engage. Because Leona can always kind of like Hex Flash or flash forward and then engage on them. So if they ever step up too far just to get poked, they risk their lives just because of how fed we are. Right, like if they ever step up just a little bit too far, Leona CCs them, they're basically just dead, right? They have no chance, whatsoever. So because of that, they can no longer really play to their strengths of poking anymore, because poking is just too dangerous, right, at this point. So they have to be very, very conservative, and they have to just take what they can get, basically. Now, Volibear is kind of in the area, but really difficult to gank because I believe the enemy team probably would have backed. Or maybe they didn't, but they're so far away from the wave that because they're so scared of Leona's engage that not too much that Volibear can do. Leona goes in with the flash again, barely misses Leona, hits the Senna here. All 4 summoner spells coming out from the enemy team. The barrier and flash from Caitlyn, as well as the heal and the flash from Senna. Now they're left with 0 summoner spells again. And yeah, I mean, this lane is just over, right? If it wasn't already over before, it's definitely over now. No real escape for them if Leona goes in now. Volibear is now running straight down the lane. I'm not sure what he's trying to do, because he's definitely not going to get engaged that way. But yeah, so, I mean, this is kind of a situation where we get a very good like minute 1 of the game, and now we're just running with it and snowballing. Of course, it's not going to happen every game, and Kalista is actually a kind of champion that's very, very feast or famine, a lot like Draven and Samira, where if you don't get a hit in the early game, you're not going to be very useful for the rest of the game, right? I mean, Samira is arguable, right? You can get those dream fights where you kind of reset on everybody and get back into the game, but with champions like Kalista and Draven, if you don't really get a hit in the early game, you're just a mediocre, kind of subpar ADC in the mid and late game, because basically every other ADC can kind of do your job better, whereas Kalista and Draven are the kind of champions that if you get a hit early, you can kind of completely take over the game and just roll over the enemy team, which is what we're trying to do in this game. I mean, after those early 4 kills, right, the enemy team has not really given us opportunities to kill them again, and Caitlyn at this point has completed her Bloodthirster, which she did rush without having any boots. And Senna is surprisingly going for Letali boots, even though she's already so far behind, which didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Now here there's a huge dragon fight. I actually hop into the Scion CC and Sion CCs me again, I'm gonna have to kind of run away a little bit here because I'm getting kind of CC'd a ton. I'm gonna walk all the way around this wall and get back to the fight. Now, I think I distracted the Ryze and the Caitlyn, and that kind of caused my team to be able to finish the other two kills, and we actually get an ace. Everybody died there, and we did that even without the kill, right? So that's kind of amazing. And at this point, the kill score is 11-2, and we have like a 7k or so gold lead 5 minutes in the game as a collective team. Now we're going to get some plates from this tower, which is going to increase our lead even further. And honestly, I feel that this is the kind of game that at this point, if no one messes it up, this is the kind of game that's a free win, right? You have a 4-0-3 Kalista, you have a 5-0-2 Volibear, and you have a Swain who's 1-0-6 but has a ton of gold as well, and you have a Kayle who hasn't died yet and has more gold than the Sion, right? So this is I'm not gonna say it's an unlosable game, but it's the kind of game state that is like if you're the enemy team, there's almost no hope. In fact, right, Caitlyn here is by herself because we can see Senna contesting the Herald, and at this point, Caitlyn cannot even stand under her tower. Leona can easily tank the tower, and we can easily dive her, so she can't even get anywhere near her tower, can't get anywhere near her wave. Her whole team is dying on the other side of the map. She's the only person left alive on her team. We can even dive her at the tier 2 tower if we really wanted to, but instead we're just going to counter jungle the enemy team's red buff instead. And then we can take down the mid lane tower with the plates as well. Now, Kayle is having the time of her life as well, because as a result of all of these fights that the enemy champions are going to, she's basically free farming for a lot of the time, and she's getting tower plates as well. She also got 4 assists from the fight there, and here Leona goes in very deep in the enemy red side jungle for a fight. I'm just backline auto-attacking whoever's the closest target. Kha'Zix tries to go in from behind, and I'm able to trade 1-for-1 with him. Here I'm going for the Ryze, who of course is a high value target. But we can't really get to him, and here is where my team kind of throws a little bit because Swain, Volibear, and Leona all kind of die, and the enemy team gets some shutdowns. Now, I honestly did think that hiding in the enemy team's red side jungle is a tad too aggressive, especially when both their tier 2 towers are still up. We ourselves, though, we don't actually die. We are able to kind of stay safe in that fight, and we now have enough for Runan's Hurricane, which would have been a huge difference in that fight itself if we had that at the time, which of course we didn't. Now we're being a little bit cautious stepping up because we know Kha'Zix is on this side of the map, and we are alone at the moment, so I'm just sending the Ghost to kind of just check it out. Of course, Kha'Zix can invis, but it's hard to invis for a long distance, so I think the Ghost would probably spot him. So here, after that semi-throw, now we just want to make sure we don't, throw any more. We definitely don't want to die and give over our shutdown. We still have a 5 kill and 3 assist shutdown. We are against a team that features scaling champions like Senna, who's building damage, and Ryze. Of course, Ryze is the most OP champion in the game right now. Leona goes in for another very, very aggressive play. We get rid of the enemy bot lane, and now Ryze has nowhere to run. He's going to go down as well. All 3 carries have been eliminated from the enemy team. Kha'Zix loses his mind and jumps into 3 people. Not sure if that was an int on purpose or not, but that was wild by the Kha'Zix. And this will allow us to take down at least the tier 2 tower, because death timers are really not that long. So going for inhib would be very ambitious, right? So here, I honestly think we're way overextending. Like, we should not be doing this because the enemy team is all kind of coming back up, and this is just asking for trouble. Now here Leona goes back in, is very, very tanky with the gargoyles as well as just her innate tankiness. She of course did just get buffed. Ryze ult comes in. I'm going to flash the wall to ensure I'm not kind of caught out by the Ryze ult. Now here I thought that Q was the stun, so I actually cleansed predictively, but that ended up not hitting me anyway. And here I get the fruit. I'm trying to get back into the fight, which is now a full-on fight with my team. Ryze is chasing. Now, honestly, missing that Q is what killed me here. If I hit that Q, I could have rendered him and survived, but I end up dying and giving Ryze the shutdown, which is very, very bad. Of course, giving a 7-kill shutdown to the Ryze, who's, just a broken champion at the moment, let's be honest, is kind of horrible. Right now, despite Ryze being a broken champion, I think in this ever since Rise released, I've only encountered him 3 times in a ranked game. Right? And I've not lost a single one of those ranked games, funnily enough, even though he's very obviously broken as a champion. I just found it very funny because normally when you play against the broken champion, you normally end up losing. But it's funny how the 3 times he wasn't banned, I actually end up winning, which is really weird to me. But anyways, here we're now going for the dragon. Of course, we got the first dragon, so it's a possible soul for our team. So we're just blasting this dragon. Horrible smite, by the way, by the Volibear. We are able to rend it and secure, and then take out the Kha'Zix after that, who goes in. Now, my 2 engagers are going very, very deep into the enemy team. I'm just trying to follow up here. Just hitting really whoever is the closest target. I'm trying to hit the Rise and kill him. There we go, we got him. And now Sion is the closest target, so we're just going to get rid of him as well. And Kill is really deep in the back line. Senna, the only one alive at the moment. And she can't really do very much to defend. However, our wave is a little bit too far away, right? All of the lanes are kind of pushing against us, so we can't really get anything here because of the poor wave management that we had. But we are going to be able to back and pick up the Terminus, which of course is a pretty huge buy. And now we can redeploy on the map. We want to go to the bot side though, because Baron is coming up soon, so we definitely want to stay on the Baron side of the map if possible. Kill is now going to the opposite side of the map. And here, we're just going to farm up the jungle. Honestly, Volibear is just counter jungling the Kha'Zix for the most part, so he doesn't even have time to farm his own jungle because he's too busy farming the enemy's jungle. Now he is getting chased down, and we're coming to kind of help out. He doesn't try to let me block for him, so now Leona is not in very deep, and we had to jump forward because otherwise we would have gotten hit by the Kha'Zix isolation, so we had to jump forward there, which is very, very awkward. And honestly, really, really low health bars. I think if I survived that Caitlyn auto, I would have gone like 1 or 2 more kills before I died. I mean, make no mistake, I was gonna die there because I'm like in the middle of 5 people. No way I'm surviving, but yeah, we tried our best. We nearly got the outplay, but we didn't quite manage to do it. Either way, we're still in a very, very good spot. Although, as I said, we always have the looming threat of the scaling Rise and the scaling Senna, so Kalista definitely is a champion that will get outskilled very easily when you get to late game, so you definitely don't want to be having these kind of deaths, because this could spell the end for you if you make multiple mistakes, give the enemy time to scale, and they end up getting to a point where you end up getting out damaged by them. That would be very, very bad. So we definitely, as a Kalista, you definitely want to be able to find opportunities to just end the game and just find good opportunities, So here we're going to teleport over to the Baron side of the map. And Swain is pushing top all the way in, right? So here, we decide to just do the Baron, because we can see Rise on the other side of the map. Sion is pushing mid lane, Caitlyn and Senna are on Vision as well. And we do the Baron pretty fast, we have double carries with Kayle and Kalista. We should be able to burst down the Baron really quickly. However, Sion is now here. Now, I'm not sure how we lose Baron to a Sion. Like, where is... I didn't rend here because I'm assuming that Volibear is going to smite it, and it's a Sion. It's not like it's Kha'Zix, it's not like it's Caitlyn, it's not like it's damaged Senna, right? It's Sion, full tank Sion. Like, how does full tank Sion steal Baron? Against Volibear, who has like an 800 damage smite. There's no spell he has that can do more than 800 damage. It doesn't make any sense, right? So, I have had instances where I rend as Kalista and it confuses my jungler, and then it actually becomes a situation where I rend but I don't one-shot the Baron, because rend doesn't do that much damage to monsters. You do have damage to monsters, so you can't really use rend as a smite on Kalista. So I have had situations where I rendered and then the Baron becomes low HP and the enemy steals it, because my jungler was not expecting the rend. So I stopped rending the Baron because that is only confusing my jungler. So I expect my jungler to secure with the smite, but in this case he did absolutely nothing. And as a result, we lose Baron to a Sion, and this is very, very detrimental to the game, because having a Baron lost to the enemy team gives the enemy team free scaling, right? More time to scale, right? Because if they have the Baron, their Rives are going to auto push out, and they're going to be able to get towers, get bounties, and then gives them more time to scale, because we can't use Baron to end the game. So this is very, very, very bad. It cannot be understated how horrible this situation is. The enemy team getting that Baron steal. We're at 10k gold ahead, but the enemy team is going to get a bunch of bounties and they're going to kind of get back into it a little bit. Now Leona goes for the engage onto the Rise over the wall. I'm hitting the Rise with everything I have. Thankfully we're able to burst him down even through the shield from Senna, even through his own shield on Seraphs, and we're able to get rid of him. Now Sion is going for the split push. He's going for that inhib. We need to get this dragon as quickly as we can, secure the soul, which once again, by the way, this Volibear could not smite. I had to rend it this time to ensure we secured the soul. As you can see, I get the credit for the dragon, and now Sion is trying to get the inhib. Now thankfully, I think the Baron has run out, so we're actually able to get rid of the Sion. Sion's still trying to damage, but he doesn't really do that much damage without the minions, so we're all good there. We saved the inhib. And here now no objectives are up. It's still 2 more minutes to Elder, and Baron's gonna be a while before it comes back up again. So at this current time, there's not that much to do. So we're trying to see if we can find a pick onto someone in the top lane, because both the bot laners were here just now trying to push up. So we're trying to see if we can catch them out. But I guess they must have backed in the bush, so we're not actually able to do that. And you can see that a couple of them are going down for the kill. So here we are. Kill actually kills the Rise and is now going for the Caitlyn. She actually gets a kill on Caitlyn as well. And Kha'Zix cannot finish the kill on her, so this is kind of insane, right? Kill basically has just 1v2 there, killed 2 important characters, and Leona is now super duper aggressive, getting chain CC. Not much I can really do there to help her out. And meanwhile, Kill is still on the push. Baron is coming up in 10 seconds, and the obvious play is to just go for Baron, right? But this guy is such a horrible smiter that this is kind of dangerous now, right? He's gotten 1 Baron stolen already, almost got 2 dragons stolen. I mean, 2 of the dragons out of the 3 were secured by me, and not my jungler, which is, yeah, I mean, that kind of tells you all you need to know about his smiting skills. So, thankfully, it looks like no one is really contesting. So, look at that smite, by the way. He was 500 damage off with that smite, and Kill is the one that secured it. Now, it's no wonder that all of our objectives are either getting stolen or could have gotten stolen. Like, this guy is not even close with the smite. So here, look at this, right? We're attacking Sion, but all of the spears are transferring to Caitlyn. We actually killed Caitlyn because Sion was in range. Caitlyn was not even in our range. But we only killed Sion because Caitlyn was near Sion. And here, Rise is going for the kill on us. We have the Stasis. He Stasis as well. Now I'm just going to run away because I don't think we kill him at that kind of low HP. So we're just going to hightail it out of there. And now the Elder Dragon is up. So now, we need to reset and go to the Elder Dragon. So we're really close to getting our Twin Guard, which is why we're doing the Krubs. And now we're quickly going to recall with the Baron Empire. Recall, grab the Twin Guard, putting us to full build. And then we're going to run straight to the Baron. Now Kha'Zix is on his way to the Baron. I'm thinking this is very dangerous. I'm fully expecting this, not Baron, the Elder. I'm fully expecting Elder to get stolen by the Kha'Zix. Now somehow, I mean, not somehow, but Kale secures the Elder. No surprise there. Volibear has gone credit on, I think, maybe only 1 dragon at most, if anything. But yeah, thankfully we get the Elder Dragon. This allows us to just run straight down mid and probably just force the end of the game. I don't think the enemy team can really stop us because we're already so far ahead with the Elder. Not very much they can do. Now here I'm just going to go super aggressive, flashing forward, just going for the damage, killing the enemy bot lane. And then just using the base to hop back into position, killing the Sion, and there we have it. That's going to be the end of the game. So, pretty interesting game here. Got a little bit close to the enemies, getting steals and comebacks, but I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.